Yep.
Hi, I want to show you how to do the one pot parlay. Now you can do this for 8 or 9 or 10 colors, and it's really going to be good for you, Sue, because you want to make a pastel one. I'm going to use real light colors today, but what you do basically is go around the color wheel and you leave a little bit of dye in from the piece of wool before. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to be using Buttercup Yellow, Bright Orange and Magenta that's from Cushing's, Bright Orange and Magenta from Prochem, and then Violet from Prochem. We'll see how it goes. So once again, I'm using my faithful chopstick. I've got about 1/4 of an inch of Buttercup Yellow on it. Putting it in this dye. I'm not adding any other color to mute it. It's already kind of a quiet little darling. So in goes. Oh, there's a little bit of coral now in it because of my stick being dirty from our last one. I usually get a new stick every time I do work. But, you know, it's on camera and I'm doing it quick. So I use some pretty shoddy behaviors. Now, I don't bother when I'm making pastels to put acid in because, number one, I want a little bit of color left in there and it'll grab up like crazy. So you can see the difference between it, a little bit of tinge of yellow, and this. Now we're going to put the orange in. You can see there's still some yellow left in that pot. And I am being very judicious. I don't want to have too much color. When I make pastels, I mean pastels. So now the orange is going to go in. Oh, that's a naughty piece. Now the orange is going to go in. And I'm going to stir it around. Now in order to help this situation to get, acid on it, I just fill up this container with water up to about halfway point. I put citric acid in it and I, fix that in the oven. So it saves me from having to worry about getting it fixed. I'm more concerned about color in this situation. So I was a little bit too gentle with the orange, but you can see there's color difference. So I'm going to add a little bit more orange because I want some left over as well. See what happens. This is a good time for me to say it's really important to know your dyes. Know how strong they are and what they're going to do. So now I'm getting more action that I want because I want it to get a little bit deeper in color, a little darker. Now if I want, I can take this over to the sink and rinse this out. I'm going to see if I can rinse it out a bit in here. Because not everything is present for the dye to take up. There's no acid, it's just the dye. And Synthropol will help get rid of it. You can see it toned it down quite a bit. That's always a good tip to know. If you run it under cold water with a bit of Synthropol, you can usually get rid of those little bloopers. So now here's our orange, and you can see how delicate and beautiful that is. It's magic and a thing of great beauty, if you ask me. I love gradations. Alright, so now I'm putting this magenta in. I also love a coral color, and this is going to get us a beautiful corally color. And it's going to get me some pink hands too, so I better be careful. Now, of course, this can be done with super dark colors too. Doesn't matter how much dye you put in or how light it is. It's just about making these smooth colors that are related to each other. Okay. How are we on the time, camera guy?
4.
Okay, we're doing good. So you can see now how nice that is, but you know what? It's not as nice as I'd like it to be, so I'm going to flip back to my orange and I'm going to add a little bit more orange. It's got that little bit of weirdness you get sometimes with reds. So I'm going to make it a little more coral looking. Cool, now it's real bright. So what can I do about that? Well, I can get a little bit of blue. If I can find some blue to help me, I'm going to add a little tiny bit of blue, or I can add brown too. Here's some steel brown. I can't find the blue. Warm colors always do well, getting toned down with brown. So I'm just going to add a little bit of brown in there. It'll kick this back a notch. And then when I'm all done making this look the way I want it to, and that's a little softer, I am going to add more magenta to this, because remember that was the color we wanted left over for the next one. And every time I want to get a little bit darker. Now this time I want to add a teensy bit of black. And that's I'm probably going to re-enter that last one in there too. This black is going to help tone down that magenta a little bit. Make it softer, make it go with our first two a little bit better. But I can't put this one in because it would get too dark at this state. So, now I want to add my fourth color, which was violet. Now this itself, before I put the violet in, is fine, and it would do the work. And I think also I'm getting quite a bit of dye in here to keep it pastel, but we'll see. Because the great thing is, as soon as I like the color of it, I'm going to remove it. I don't have to have it take it all up. Now the sad thing about it is black comes on first. We have already gone well beyond the pastel stage. So now, and I'm going to have to have quick hands to do this. And I'm also going to have recommend that you make this cold before you put it in here, or add cold water to this, because it will impede the progress of this happening so quickly. I don't usually have to go back and forth so many times, but you can see now how better related it is. And this one wouldn't hurt one bit to go in here for 1 second. Nor this one either. So you can see how I'm making them go together. Okay, that's it, camera guy.